Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Fastlane 2021 preview and predictions. We've only got 7 matches announced for this card, but this card is ridiculously stacked. Literally, like, if you just look at the description, you already know. I always try my best to list the matches in order from least important to most important. And the least important match on this card is Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That's insane. Are you kidding me? This card is ridiculous. John, how do you feel about it?
Brother, I'm just going to come out and say, because you know we like to do our scales at the beginning and then check in again at the end of every preview and predictions. Whether from an in-ring standpoint or a narrative standpoint, I do make a distinction between the two. Every match either offers one or the other, or at times even both. And I don't think there's a single match that doesn't have any meat on its proverbial bone. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 for hype. I'm really looking forward to this show. Like,
I was over here debating, do I want to go 8 or 8.5? And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to join John at 8.5 because you said you were at an 8.5 last night, and now you're moving up to 9.
But here's the thing, brother. Here's why. Because I only had some idea of the card. I didn't see all of them in a cohesive setting like your description here. So looking at it and really taking it in, because Nakamura, Seth, it's going to be great in ring. And by the way, even though it's kind of annoyed me at times, I think overall I like that SmackDown has reined Seth Rollins in, and they've really treated him wrestling as kind of special. Because we haven't seen him get physical in the ring, like in terms of a formal match, since Rumble. And that was back in fucking late January. Here we are in like late March now. They really restrained themselves on using Seth. I don't know if it's still because like they don't want to use him much because he's still new to the whole dad thing, and if that'll change. But it makes him feel like a bigger deal, and I like it. Bliss versus Orton, you know I've hated that storyline, but I actually credit the boldness of having an intergender match here.
Dude, and, right? You know, I was even like, I was confused, and then I was like, you know what? Good for you, right? Like,
well, yeah, because even though, again, I cannot stress enough that I have hated the storyline, it's actually a bit tougher to call than you might think, because Alexa Bliss as a character with all the supernatural stuff going on, like I could easily envision a spot, right, where she's got Orton like throwing up that black bile or whatever that's been coming out of his mouth and try and get him in a roll up for like a 2 count or something. Like, so as a character, I can buy the idea of Bliss actually beating Orton, especially because he's in like the twilight of his career at this point. Sheamus versus Drew, the guys have been doing great stuff. I go, even though I detest Raw, and I watch the YouTube clips just in case you and I ever need to talk about it for whatever reason, like this. I'm able to at least have somewhat of a conversation. Sheamus has been doing good work the past maybe even 6 months or so, because, you know, we enjoyed the Big E feud. I think we enjoyed a little bit of stuff after that. Sheamus has been in the best stuff of his career. Drew is kind of cooling down a bit, gearing up for his match with Lashley at Mania. This is a nice little filler thing for him to do. So I think it should be a good match. Women's tag titles, again, another weak entry in terms of, you know, I don't like the Reginald stuff, but maybe Sasha will finally turn heel here. We don't know. Hell, maybe Bianca and Sasha will become champions. We'll get to that match when we get to it. Riddle, Mustafa, work rate's going to be insane. I saw their Raw match. Great counters, great chemistry. And, I mean, Mustafa's promos, he's already, in his Twitter promos, made the U.S. title feel so important. Yeah. Big E, Apollo, we've talked enough about that on Twitter. Well, I don't need to make enough comments here, but you know if it's a regular talking point on our podcast, positively, these guys are killing it. And then Reigns, Bryan, WWE title, copy-paste what I said about the IC title. And shouldn't that be Universal Championship, by the way?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm going to change that. Thank you for pointing that out. I actually totally forgot that was the Universal title.
So yeah, like, normally I don't go match by match, and I apologize, guys, for taking all that time, but I really did want to drive home the point why I'm at a 9, because I think there's something redeemable about every match, and, like, that's really not something I say very often. So yeah, I'm actually stoked as fuck for Sunday.
Yeah, I'm very excited for tomorrow. It should be a really fun show. That said, though, do we want to get started on our first match for predicting?
Let's do it.
All right, well, like I said, Nakamura Rollins, as far as I'm concerned at least, is the least important match on this show. And it is still a huge match. Like, this is borderline dream match, realistically. Like, 5 years ago, I guarantee you that if you would have asked people, oh, if you could have any match between 2 wrestlers from any promotion, this would have come up.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like, you're looking at a match in Seth Rollins versus Nakamura where I know Cesaro's getting the Mania match, which I'm fucking psyched for. But, like, you could have given Nakamura this story. You could have swapped Cesaro and Nakamura, essentially, and given Cesaro this spot, Nakamura the Mania match, if you really wanted to build on his momentum from the Gauntlet, which unfortunately this company, at least for a time, forgot about. And I still would have been just as psyched. Because that's how great these guys are in ring. I do ultimately think this is going to be a win for Rollins because, again, they've really been protecting him. He hasn't been in matches since the Rumble match, even though he's gotten physical since then. So I think, you want to keep that allure up. You want to keep the value of his name up. I think it's a win for Rollins here, but I hope this goes like 20 minutes. I really want these guys to get time to really tell a good story. So Rollins for the win.
20, but it definitely needs to get some time.
Absolutely.
I just hope it's not. Let me put it this way: I just hope it's not under 11.
Yeah, there you go. So, do you agree with me though that Rollins wins?
Yeah. Rollins has to win this. I'm wondering what you feel though about this. Do you think Rollins wins here, and then we get another match between Seth and Cesaro beats him clean? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that's exactly what happens at Mania for the time being, at least. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be huge for him. Like, honestly,
although doesn't Seth low-key have an undefeated streak at Mania or something like that?
Well, no, if he did, it already would have been ended by Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens beat him last year.
Oh my God, that's right. I can't believe I forgot that already. Holy shit.
That's why it takes. I always say, man, whenever you forget something, I forget something. It always takes two.
Dude, you know what's even fucking crazier about last year's WrestleMania is that Aleister Black beat Bobby Lashley on last year's WrestleMania.
I was actually going to bring up that point in our preview for WrestleMania, when we got there, what a difference a year makes. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Jesus Christ, wild, dude.
Fuck you, Vince McMahon. God damn.
The only thing he did right in that equation was actually push Bobby harder and get Lana away from him.
Yeah.
But, so we agree on Rollins winning. I've got nothing else to say about this match if you want to go on to the next one here.
Well, the next match is another pretty big match. It's Bliss Orton. It's our intergender match. Is this the first? This has got to be the first intergender match advertised for WWE pay-per-view in well over a decade.
Yeah, dude. And
the last one was the Hart Trio versus the Snukas and Tamina, or not the Snukas, the Usos and Tamina. Was that ever on a pay-per-view back in 09, 2010, somewhere around there?
It probably was, but I couldn't tell you with any.
So that would be the last one, really.
Yeah.
Unless, was there a fucking mixed match challenge final on a pay-per-view in the last couple of years?
I feel like there was, possibly.
But then, that's mixed. That's not intergender. That's different. They're different things.
Yeah.
This is very different for WWE. We've had a couple intergender interactions over the course of the last few years with Orton, and it almost seems to involve Orton, right? Orton RKO'd Nya, right, in the Royal Rumble the one year, so that was, and then Ray fucking 619er, that was the best part. And then, I can't even, maybe, men getting physical as far as just, knocking Stephanie McMahon off the apron and shit like that, but I feel like there's been nothing else. Can you think of any other examples of...
I can't, man, no.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they just avoid this shit like the plague, and now here, not only are they not avoiding it, they're running headfirst into a pay-per-view advertising a match that's intergender. That blows my mind.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking wild, to say the least. Looking at this match... You know what? I truly believe Endgame is a returning Fiend at Mania with new gear, because I've been hearing a new look is in the works because he was set on fire, versus Orton at Mania, with Fiend getting that win. So I almost feel like narratively, here's where I'm coming from with it, not to overcomplicate it, right? I feel like narratively, Alexa Bliss is going to position herself as a worthwhile sacrifice to be the final thing to bring about the Fiend's resurrection. So I see Orton winning, but he doesn't really, because it's like we used to say about heels. You defeat one evil, and then a greater evil takes its place. Well, in Orton's case, he feels like he's done with the Fiend. Now Alexa's bothering him. Then when he gets done with Alexa, he'll feel like, oh, now I can concentrate on the WWE title or whatever. But then no, Fiend's come back now because Alexa, her loss was all part of the grand plan. So I see Orton winning, but ultimately I do see Endgame again being Fiend versus Orton at Mania. Now, how do you feel about it?
This is a really hard one for me because anytime you get a Bliss type character or a Fiend character, basically a supernatural type character in WWE involved, it really throws me off because it's like, I don't know. There's a world where their fantasy, sci-fi, whatever the fuck powers that they have allow them to overcome no matter what the size disadvantage may be. But then there's also a world where, like, she tries that bullshit, and like the Royal Rumble, she just gets immediately slapped down, and Orton just, like, hits her with an RKO and pins her for the 3 count, and that's it.
Right.
Either Orton's going to win in less than 2 minutes, or Bliss is going to win in, like, 5 minutes. It's going to be a short match, I think, though, no matter what. Fuck it, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to say Bliss wins because the Fiend appears with the new look, and maybe he's, like, got, like, burns, and, like, his fucking gear is, like, you can see that it's been, like, burned off and shit, and it looks really, like, he literally just, like, walked through hell to get here kind of thing. And it distracts Orton long enough for Bliss to do something, maybe, like, a fucking low blow or something. I don't know. But Bliss finds a way. That's my guess.
All right, we'll see what happens. I like that we actually disagree on this one. So, next matchup.
I will admit, though, it's not a strong disagree. It's more of a, like, flip of the coin, and I just happen to land on the opposite side of you kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Did you see the bruises that these dudes had after their street fight a couple weeks ago?
I don't think I did. I did see, like, the highlights of the street fight, though, like, on WWE's YouTube.
My lord. I mean, the thing is, Sheamus is so fucking pale that everything shows up on his skin that much more. Like red marks and like welts and black and blues and bruises and stuff. But you could even see on Drew's back that like he had fucking, I think it was Singapore cane marks on his back and shit. Like it looked brutal.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about this matchup. Do we think there's any chance Sheamus wins here and it becomes a triple threat at Mania because he stakes his claim just to kind of spice the matchup a little bit? Or do you think they're going to keep it to Lashley McIntyre one-on-one?
Dude, I'm going to give Sheamus a lot of credit here. I think that Sheamus has kind of realized that he's at the point in his career where he needs to be putting people over, and I think that's exactly what he's in this feud to do. I think that Drew is going to win here clean. Sheamus will put up a hell of a fight. It might be like one of those like 15 to 18 minute matches. It'll go long. It's not like Drew's going to squash him, I don't think. But I do think Drew will win.
Here's the thing. I ultimately do agree with you. I only floated that question just because, I do like to vet all possibilities for an outcome. Yeah. But I do think, with WrestleMania, especially in the main event picture, I think more often than not, WWE doesn't want to complicate shit.
Yeah.
Like, your main event's your main event. And then I'm going to be kind of repeating that talking point later in this preview. So, with that in mind, I do think Drew beats Sheamus. But I'm really looking forward to this, man. Sheamus has been doing quality work lately. I feel like, at least on the internet, at least in the small bubble on wrestling internet, the IWC that I occupy, beyond this YouTube space, because, I don't, like, scroll for comments or anything like that. We upload it. I'm just moving on to the next commentary. I feel like I'm one of the few people that really advocates for McIntyre. I don't think he's nearly as bad as people have lambasted him for being. I still credit him for being a main event guy in a pandemic era, which is not fucking easy, which is why him, Asuka, Bailey, et cetera, have all been fucking astounding as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he wins, and I think it's going to be a banger. I'm looking forward to it. So we agree there. And women's tag titles next, right?
Yes, sir. Nya and Shaina versus Bianca and Sasha. And interestingly enough, on Wikipedia, it says that Reginald will be in the corner of Nya and Shaina.
Yes. Well, I mean, that makes sense given that Nia's kind of taken Reginald's attention away from Sasha, or has she? A lot of questions there.
What do you mean by that?
Well, well, because we don't know what the whole, like, end game of that whole angle is. Like, Sasha can't seem to, like, forget about Reginald. Reginald's still a pain in her ass. And, we've even talked about Sasha maybe potentially turning heel with Reginald's help, like using him in case Bianca overwhelms her. We don't know. We have to cross this bridge first. But I'm just saying, I look at the whole Nia arrangement to be a bit temporary. And I have to wonder if this match could be a part of it. I'm going to be honest. I've actually had a tougher time predicting this one. I don't think it's so simple as Nia and Shayna retain, because I don't know. If they want to keep stoking the antagonisms between Bianca and Sasha, they could win the titles and have their differences put aside, but then maybe lose them on night one of Mania, And then in that same night, they close out night one with the women's championship match. So it's like, they're both kind of in the same boat. I don't know. I've actually kind of struggled with this one. Do you have a clear idea in your mind of who you think is winning here?
I don't have a clear idea, as far as I don't have an 80+% favorite between these two teams. I think it's more of a 55-45 kind of thing, and I might even be picking the less likely team to win. But
right,
I have a vision. All right.
Okay.
Sasha still has never won at WrestleMania, by the way. I don't think.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually think they're gonna fucking maintain that shit this year because they're turning her heel. I think if she was a face still, if she was gonna stay a face, I think they would have her win. I think it would be her big moment, but I think they're gonna prolong that still. So here's what I'm thinking. I think Sasha and Bianca win here. And then I'm trying to decide order-wise. Night one of WrestleMania, they lose the tag titles. I don't know who to. Maybe Baymella would work. Maybe it is just fucking Natalia and Tamina, which I would hate, but that's a WWE thing. Night two, Sasha loses her title to Bianca. And beats the fuck out of her afterwards. That's the official, okay, we knew already, but she's actually a full-blown heel now. And then that is kind of a jumping off point as far as Bianca is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And Sasha is a full-blown, yes, she's 100% heel again. I hate that they're doing it. I really don't want Sasha to be heel. I want Sasha to stay face, at least for a little while longer, just long enough so that she can get a feel-good WrestleMania win. But I don't think that's going to happen. And frankly, that was never going to happen against Bianca anyway. Because Bianca is too much of a fan favorite, too much of a potential feel-good moment on her own. So her winning a title at Mania is, I think, a way better feel-good moment than Sasha retaining as this weird, I'm an arrogant heel all of a sudden, even though I've never been that before. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Sasha Bianca with the breaking point being them losing their tag titles and then Bianca beating Sasha for her singles title all in the same weekend.
Interesting. We'll have to reassess where you're at when we actually do get to Mania preview predictions, which will be interesting in its own right.
Yeah.
For me, fuck. See, because I don't
to be
like
fair,
that.
I do have another thought where Sasha and Bianca retain at Mania, and then Bianca beats Sasha for a title, and Sasha's all passive aggressive, oh, I'm angry at you, I don't like you, but we're tag team champions, so I have to hold it together. And then they lose the titles afterwards, and that's when Sasha breaks and beats the fuck out of her. One of those two. It could go either way.
Yeah. I am really struggling here because here's the thing. I don't like, and I haven't liked from the beginning, and I know you haven't either, Shayna and Nya as a tag team. Even after all this time, they haven't grown on me 1 inch.
Dude,
I feel like
you know what I really fucking hate?
What?
This idea that there's tension between Shayna and Nya because Shayna cost Nya her match with Sasha on Friday on SmackDown. You two don't even, you're not even supposed to like each other. How can there be more tension than there already was when you formed your tag team? You two literally formed your tag team out of spite of other people. What the fuck?
Yeah, none of it makes any sense, which is why I hate it.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was obviously Reginald has been a source of even more tension, right? Because Shayna's just not down with it, and he's hated it. I've been of the idea for a while now that Sasha, I don't even know so much about begrudgingly anymore. Because at first I thought, okay, well maybe she'd begrudgingly accept his help, at Mania, because Bianca's just overwhelming her. Maybe she would just willingly accept it because something happens between now and Mania where it's shit, I'm actually in trouble. I've got to back up my talk, but I need a plan B because I'm not losing this championship. So then where does Shayna and Nya fit? Because I look at it two ways. Ultimately, I come down to the road of again, Sasha getting Reginald. And Reginald being her manager, whatever, however you want to fucking put it. It's still weird. I don't like how they came about it, but it's whatever, right? I look at it either as Shayna and Nya retain here, and something either happens on the road to Mania, or even at Mania, he just helps Sasha anyway, and then the fallout is he leaves Nya. Nya's angry and confused about it, but he's I was never interested in you, I was only interested in Sasha, and they do that. Or he costs them the titles here. Because here's the thing, we didn't see Reginald at all on Friday. Like, at all. I'm thinking he's going to have a presence here. I think he's going to help Sasha and Bianca win. So you know what? You rolled the dice earlier, right, with Alexa Bliss Orton. I'm going to do the same with this matchup. I'm going to say Sasha and Bianca win because of Reginald. And then Nia, like, kicks him out. Maybe her and Shayna implode because Shayna's like, I didn't like him anyway. That's how we get done with that tag team. Then Sasha and Bianca, because they can't coexist, they lose the titles to Natalya and Tamina. Because you even pointed out, dude, in our SmackDown review, that they were really focusing the attack on Bianca, even more than Shayna, like the current champions. Yeah. I think that's a way to telegraph, okay, these are our heel contenders. We're going to have Sasha and Bianca win because of Reginald. But Reginald isn't helping the team. He's helping Sasha.
Right.
They lose the tag titles because Sasha doesn't want to be tied to Bianca. She wants to be done with Bianca in every sense of the word. Then she accepts Reginald's help to beat Bianca at Mania. So I'm going for it. We're getting a title change here. These women tag titles are more narrative props. I mean, every belt's a narrative prop, but they really telegraph that these are narrative props. So yeah. Sasha Bianca to win. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we actually agreed on this. I feel like that's kind of controversial, and we got a unanimous pick on it.
Yeah. Like, again, this is a harder match for me to call, but again, I've just had it in my mind for a while. The end game is Sasha fully turns heel by aligning with Reginald, and Bianca has to chase. Which, God, as a Bianca fan, I am itching to see her hold some women's championship gold. And, like, tag titles are, like, okay and all, whatever. But, like, man, I'm really curious when this company's going to pull the trigger on her and have her become a champion. Because where I sit right now, it's not happening at Mania. Again, both you and I will have to check in with ourselves and each other at Mania Preview and Predictions to see what's changed or what stayed the same. But for now, yeah, it's not looking good for the EST. So, all right, next matchup.
All right, so next up, we've got the United States Championship match. Riddle defending against Mustafa Ali. I think Riddle's going to retain here, but there's a part of me that just, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm picking Riddle to retain. I'm sure that there are other angles, but I'm just going to stick with my gut here.
I don't know if it's because of the accusations or what, and that's probably it. I really just can't even stand the sight of Riddle's face anymore. I wanted to get punched so fucking bad. I want Ali to be the United States champion. I think his Twitter promos about it have been fire. I think his Raw Talk segments have been fire. The dude can fucking talk. I saw people on some dirt sheet comment sections, primarily no DQ, because that's what I read, be like, oh, Ali never should have been the leader of Retribution. He's an absolutely believable leader because, again, I put talking above everything else when you're in a leadership spot in a faction. Which is why I always low-key thought of Ambrose as kind of even the leader of the ship, because I thought he was the best promo of the three. Right. But, like, you are what you're booked. You know what would make Ali believable the rest of the way is if he fucking won more consistently and if this group just won more consistently. Yeah. So I'm rooting hard for Ali to win. I don't think he will, though, because honestly, dude, and I don't know if anybody in the chat agrees with me, I think Retribution's getting ready to implode. Because, like, Ali blamed Retribution for him losing the match to Riddle on Raw in the first place. Because here's the thing. Let me ask you, just to check in with you. Did you see the highlights from that match?
No.
No? So, okay, here's what happened. Fucking T-Bar got on the apron, and he was distracting the referee, but Ali had Riddle pinned. The reason T-Bar got on it was because Riddle was in the dominant position when he got on the apron. Ali just did a quick reversal, and T-Bar didn't have enough time to react. So he's distracting the referee, but then Riddle flips him over again. He gets the bro Derek, and that's how he gets the pin. So he chews out Retribution afterwards. He's had tension with him before, even back when we were still kind of watching Raw. Remember when fucking Reckoning, I'm trying to remember their names, Reckoning lost her matchup to Dana fucking Brooke. And he's just chewing her out like, I don't lose, you don't embarrass me like that. This group's going to implode, dude. WWE never give a fuck about this group. They don't give a fuck about Ali. And I hate to say that because I love Foster so much and I know what a huge fan of Ali he is. So I don't mean it in a mean-spirited way, Foster, and I know you know that. But they don't give a fuck about this group or him. And it's really a fucking shame because I hate the sight of Matt Riddle now. He annoys the fuck out of me. But Ali's not going to be U.S. champion, so Riddle to retain. I fucking hate it, but Riddle retains.
I just imagine Vince looking at this card and looking at this match and be like, I really don't like that Riddle guy. He's always talking about things that I don't understand, and he always smells kind of skunky, and I'm just not a big fan of the guy. But you know what I hate even more than a fucking stoner? Antifa. Fuck 'em. Riddle wins.
I honestly thought you were getting ready to say foreigners, and I would have been like, I was so ready.
Same thing. Well, not same thing, but same concept.
In his mind, they're all directed towards bringing down the America that he grew up in. So yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's call it what it is. Okay, the same fucking thing. Fuck his boomer brain to the ends of the goddamn earth. I swear to fuck.
Yeah. Speaking of boomer brains, I wonder where Javaris is.
Not in this chat morally supporting me through this bullshit like he should be, which is a problem because I did mass tagging.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so we're both picking Riddle. On to I really hope, and I don't expect it to be, so I should not get my hopes up, but I really hope this is the semi-main event of this show, because it really fucking deserves a spot like that. The Intercontinental Championship match, Big E defending against Apollo Crews. Can this please semi-main event this show? Please?
Oh, dude. I mean, here's the thing. Because, fucking corporations always do, all the social hashtags and stuff like that. If we're talking hashtag Black Excellence, this is what it actually looks like. Because here's the thing. Putting a title on a black superstar, that is great. I'm not going to try and diminish that or demean that. But you know what's even better, though? When you put the title on them and you write them in a compelling way with interesting feuds. Bonus points if the compelling feud is with another person of color, as they've done with Big E here at Apollo Crews. Both of these guys have killed it. You want to talk about positive representation? I think this is the best representation that WWE has done with black talent since Kofi Mania. And I would even give it a few points above, honestly, because they juggled two talents at once and not just focusing on Kofi, and fucking Bryan. This has been stellar. All the more so because it's for the Intercontinental title and not a main event title. I think Big E's believable as champion. I do share your nitpick about his promo. Like, he's got to figure out the right tone. But, let me tell you something, though. When he's got that righteous fury going on, like the whole you cross the Rubicon shit, yeah. I make a lot of jokes on here. I've already made a list of the people that I don't fuck with on here, even though I know they're never going to listen to this shit. Consider Big E added to the list. And if I ever made fun of that man, I am letting you know right now, I wasn't in my right state of mind, and honestly, it was all him. It was all my cohort here. So, yeah, I fear him. I don't fuck with that shit, okay? He's intimidating as hell. Apollo, we've had a lot of substantive discussions about the gimmick, about how it's coded to be a heel, which is very, I will say the word, even though I've grown to kind of roll my eyes at it, problematic. When you've got a white Scottish superstar like Drew McIntyre returning to his roots, and it's babyface-ish, that's not ultimate cringe at all, Vince, with everything going on. No, you're fine. But he's been killing it. He's been absolutely killing it regardless. He's been doing so great in the role. Yeah, this has been one of the best built matchups to Fastlane.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of both of these guys. And again, it's another matchup. Let me ask you something, man. What was the hardest match for you to predict on this card? Because for me, I really do think it was this one.
Women's tag titles. Women's
tag titles for you? For me, ultimately, I do think it was this matchup because I could see it both ways, right? I could see Big E being just so furious that it overwhelms Apollo and he retains. At the same time, I could even see, Apollo winning because Big E makes mistakes. So I'm actually going to go through a back door here.
Oh, are we going to pick the same thing?
We might. I think Apollo Crews wins by disqualification.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Apollo wins by DQ. Big E retains the title, and we extend this thing to Mania. Let's go.
Exactly, because I think Big E's going to be so goddamn angry.
Dude, yeah, Big E is going to drop a fucking set of stairs on Apollo, I think.
He's either going to drop a set of stairs. Maybe that'll be to end the segment, not the match. But for the match, I could totally see him ignoring a 5 count.
Oh my God!
And
3 ain't enough, man. I need 5, and apparently 5 ain't even enough if you're Big E.
Bro, I am so happy we agree on this because you know what? If there's one critique I'd have for us about preview predictions, I don't think we think about non-finishes enough in terms of countouts or DQs, and we deal in absolutes. But this is absolutely a matchup though. They need a one-on-one match at Mania. I don't want no fucking King Corbin. Yeah. I love Kevin Owens. I don't want Kevin Owens in this.
Biblical on Apollo's ass.
yeah, dude. This needs a one-on-one match at Mania, and you get there by having a non-finish at Fastlane. So Apollo wins by DQ, man. That's the perfect finish for this. Yeah. And it's a finish I wouldn't even be pissed at because, again, like you said, it extends it to where it really deserves to conclude WrestleMania.
I
Let's
almost
fucking
wonder
do it.
too, dude. I almost wonder if Apollo's going to come out with those two guys that came out. I think it was like either one of the Ely brothers and Denzel Dejournette or something along those lines. And it would be interesting if he came out with those two guys and like Big E started attacking Apollo, got himself DQ'd, but then those two guys like hold back Big E and Apollo beats him down.
Yeah. However they choose to go about it, I'm glad that you and I are of a very similar mind.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought of the back door, because when usually something's so tough to peg because both guys are credible, I'm going to give WWE too much credit here and think that sometimes at least they feel the same way. So it's like, oh, well, we can protect both guys at once with this. And this is one time where I wouldn't even be mad. So there you go.
Yeah. I'm very excited for this. I really hope this match is the semi-main. I hope it goes on right before the match that we're about to talk about, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan.
Can I please go first here? Because I actually have a little mini rant that I want to get off my chest.
Happily, go for it.
Again, I occupy a very, very, infinitesimal part of the IWC here, mainly because as I've gotten older, I've learned to value my time in other ways. But it is astounding to me. I am straight up gobsmacked, actually, at how much hate Bryan has gotten in this feud, and we got just a small taste of it in our chat from, oddly enough, Javara, so I knew we were just talking about a few moments ago during our SmackDown review. You realize you vindicated heel Daniel Bryan, right? I'm speaking to just the general mass, no one person in particular.
The fickle thing, yeah.
The fickle thing, because this is a guy where it has been said on the New Day podcast, he pushed for Kofi Mania to happen. He pushed for Big E's push to happen. He ran around with Gulak. He's done all this fucking shit. He's never politicked. He's put over people selflessly backstage. And he's done all this stuff, put over Roman at fucking Elimination Chamber and making him look great as a heel because he did a great hope spot as a babyface. The consummate fucking pro that's never once griped, never once complained. The only time he ever did complain it was because he wanted to finish a match because he loves wrestling that much, and that was with the whole Orton thing, where he said he yelled at Triple H. And then everybody's acting like that Daniel Bryan, you want to talk about getting worked, and I'll admit maybe I'm getting worked by these people right now. I can cop to that. But these people are getting so fucking worked because Bryan cut a promo on Talking Smack, and he reiterated it on SmackDowns for sure, about how he deserves to be at Mania. But, Bryan's always been that type of guy that doesn't like the anointed ones. Remember when Roman was very clearly the chosen one, and he challenged him, oddly enough, at a Fastlane for his WrestleMania spot? Bryan has always been that character, the underdog that's no, I don't like corporate productions. I don't like old guards having up time. He's pretty much similar to Ali in that way, except he's a babyface. And, everybody's getting mad at him for it. When, it's so obvious to me, at least, that he's going to put over Roman at Fastlane. Now, it could be maybe a dusty finish type thing, because they were really emphasizing the tapping out. I think we could very easily see a... Yeah. No, go.
I promise you Roman's going to tap out to Bryan, but it's not going to count because either the ref's not going to be there, or it's not going to be the original ref, or something is going to happen, or maybe the ref gets taken out. Something's going to happen where Bryan gets Roman to tap out, and it doesn't register with the referee, and it doesn't actually end the match, and it's just the match continues, and then Roman wins.
Yeah, dude, you've got a special enforcer angle here. It's Ref Bump 101. Yeah. We could see it from a mile away, and we're probably going to laugh about it when it happens. But this match is going to be fucking amazing because both guys are on top of their game. I actually like how Edge got in this position, and I can appreciate what people are saying about Edge being whiny. That's why I'm kind of hoping he turns heel, maybe even sometime in the course of this year after Mania. But I just had to take the 2 seconds, and I appreciate you, Ashton, for giving me that time, because I am getting so sick of people dumping on Bryan when the dude is the most selfless person in the company, and if we don't advocate for the good locker room leaders, then, it's just going to stop happening. I want more Bryans in the locker room, not less. So don't go calling him out and dragging him in front of the public square for fucking storyline kayfabe bullshit. Are you serious? Are you serious? The hypocrisy to me when they couldn't stop kissing his ass because of Kofi Mania and every other thing he's done, which they rightfully should praise him for. We all have. Because, again, that should be the norm in the locker room. You're dragging him for fucking character shit. And it's the most annoying shit about this storyline is the fan response. Because they're like, oh, I just want Roman to crush Bryan so that we can get him versus Edge. When honestly, and again, this is just one man's opinion, and I'll be sure to differentiate. This is just my opinion. I really don't care about Roman versus... Like, Bryan has been the most interesting part of this whole thing to me right now.
Yeah, I don't understand why people are pining for a one-on-one match between Roman Reigns and Edge. Like, is it really that important to you to just see a match between two guys that do a spear? Because we've had Roman versus Goldberg before. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. They'll be even angrier because Mark even said, I could see Bryan getting in the Mania match.
Yeah.
And you know, if he does, like... If we're talking about people earning shit, again, I'm happy for Edge the man, because I can't imagine what the last fucking 9 years of his life were like. We saw some of it, because, you know, we saw some of the TV productions he was a part of. But, like, you can never fill the hole of that first love. And I get that, and I sympathize with that. And I'm not trying to say that Edge shouldn't compete, or that Edge shouldn't even be at Mania. Just not my cup of tea right now. I want him to enjoy himself. Doesn't mean that I will. If Bryan gets to be a part of this, I actually care more. And, like, what? He's going to go on a tyrannical Triple H reign of terror, even if they would go as far as put the title on him, which I don't think is happening, by the way. Like, that's never fucking happened. Like, Jesus Christ, people, I am begging you. You know, if you don't like Bryan just because you don't like Bryan, that's totally fair. But to take his comments in character seriously, like he's trying to bury the company or bury these guys, when, again, he's just, and maybe he even is shooting a little bit. And if he is, it's not the worst gripe I've heard somebody have. I just think, you know, they should give it a rest, honestly. And that's all I wanted to say. But getting back to the match.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you've seen that much pushback to Bryan when really the only person that I've seen say anything about it was Javaris.
Yeah, I've seen, you know, a small clique of people.
I guess I'm just more well insulated in my circle. I filter out a lot of the bullshit.
And you are the lucky one in that scenario, sir. But to focus on the match itself, it's going to be excellent. It's a top-tier babyface against a top-tier heel. I think Roman goes over, even though, like, the babyface injustice. Bryan had the match won, but, you know, if the referee doesn't see it, nothing you could do about it. Roman gets the upper hand, and I don't know if, like, Edge just spears him to close the show, but I almost wonder if this is all telegraphing a triple threat at Mania, and I kind of hope it is.
Do you think Edge is going to screw Bryan? Like, do you think that Bryan will have Roman beat, and the ref will be down, and Edge will have an opportunity to, like, count to 3 for Bryan, or call a tap out by Roman or something along those lines, and he just won't, to screw Bryan over so that he doesn't get involved in Edge's one-on-one match with Roman at Mania?
See, dude, I've thought about that, because he's been saying, like, in exclusives and stuff on the YouTube channel, and I think he even said, like, in the interview on SmackDown when we did our review, that he wants to be enforcer so that Bryan gets a fair shake because he respects Bryan, and he doesn't feel like he'll get a fair shake.
But literally, like, 2 weeks ago, he was saying about how he didn't like how Bryan got into this.
Yeah, so maybe Edge is like me and he's complex. I don't know.
Another thing I don't like, too, about regarding Edge, I hate that one line that he said, I think it was 2 or 3 SmackDowns ago, where he told Bryan, you're better than this, but you're not better than me. Because when he said, you're better than this, all I was thinking was, like, and you are? Isn't this the exact same kind of shit that you used to do? And then he said, but you're not better than me. And I was just like, are you sure that's what you really mean to say? Like,
yeah.
This is literally, Bryan is doing normal Edge shit from like a decade ago, 12 years ago, whatever. Bryan is doing something that Edge would have done. Edge was so much worse even. And now, just because he has the benefit of hindsight, he thinks that he's better than Bryan because of, like, that's so dumb.
Can I float something by you here? Because you saying all that actually got me thinking. So we do the ref bump, right? Now, what usually happens in situations like this when there's a ref bump? The enforcer usually assumes the role of referee.
Yes.
What if Edge is the one that sees Roman tap and he doesn't call it?
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's exactly what I thought.
So, like, what if we're just trying to recreate the magic of WrestleMania 30 since we're actually going to have a crowd for this? Because we have 2 heels and 1 babyface, but this time the heels are Edge and Roman, and Bryan's the babyface. I still don't know if I'd put the title on Bryan, but then Edge could give the explanation on the SmackDown after, where, like, I needed a one-on-one match, and I wanted to, you know, beat Roman. I don't even know how we would rationalize it, because Roman is pretty OP right now. So I don't know how you rationalize wanting to face Roman. He's crafty, we'll say that. He might be crafty.
When was the last singles match that Roman won clean?
That's true, but I almost wonder I guess Bryan did win the Chamber most recently, so that might intimidate Edge. And he started the Chamber too, and he won the fucking thing. So that might intimidate Edge. Like, I don't want to go with a guy that can go that long and be that
it's like the two Iron Men from the last couple months, because Edge went from 1 to winning the Royal Rumble, and Bryan went from starting the Chamber to winning the Chamber. So it's like the two Iron Men going up against Roman, who's fucking terrified of both of them.
But yeah, dude, I really am starting to wonder now if, like, again, Edge sees the tap out, he doesn't call it, and ultimately this gets around to a recreation in a way of WrestleMania 30. And we fucking do another triple threat with Bryan as the babyface. Except it's not quite like WrestleMania 30. It's not like he has to beat, like, Edge on night 1 or something. Right. And then he gets a triple threat on night 2. I just think they'd go with the triple threat.
And that's worth noting, too. I saw Mark say this. Edge isn't really a heel, but I do think that he's giving off more tweener vibes.
I would agree with that. I would agree with
it's
Mark
like John
that he's
said,
not a heel.
He's complex.
Exactly. Yeah, and that is true, Mark. Edge started the Rumble and won. I actually forgot about that for a minute. Thank you for reminding me of that, Mark.
I just mentioned that.
Well, I'm just trying to keep everything in order here. So, yeah, I do ultimately think Roman wins, but I'm just wondering how convoluted everything's going to get. Because, again, you have all the ingredients for a really convoluted finish. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm telling you, I think you said it. You said what I've been thinking this whole time. Ref takes a bump. Roman taps out to the yes lock. Edge is the only one in the ring, and he doesn't call for the bell. He just acts like nothing's happening. And maybe he even, like, pulls Roman over to the rope or something.
Maybe. Foster, you know something? I'm not going to immediately discount it. I mean, I doubt it, right? Because I think that like, overly crowds the main event. But then again, we did kind of a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania 2000, right? Because it was fucking fully show
run. I was thinking about that too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Edge won the title at Mania. I wouldn't be surprised, really, even though I'm not expecting it, I wouldn't be overly surprised if Bryan won the title here on Fastlane. But I really don't want either one of those things to happen, because I really want Jey Uso to be the one to win the title off of Roman.
Yeah. Dude, it'd be funny if they got Jey Uso involved, because either you would just have to go all the way in my mind and have him win the title, or a guy like Edge wins the title but pinning Jey Uso, which enrages Roman, right? Because, one, you didn't pin the champion, which is the exact disadvantage in matches like that. And then, two, Jey Uso failed the family in the biggest way, because now we lost all the power. Yeah. And maybe Roman would be so angry that would be enough for Jey to just clap back, be like, you know what, man, I know he wouldn't actually say this to him because, television. Fuck you, I'm out. And they reignite their feud, and Jey goes over. I don't know, man. There are a lot of moving pieces here, which is a good problem to have.
I love SmackDown's main event scene. It really is. You used the perfect word to describe Edge. It works for the actual SmackDown main event scene. It's so complex. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is, because when you can legitimately have as a talking point and not be laughed out of the room just because of how great the writing and the booking has been, and really his own efforts as well, because you got to make it work. Jey Uso is Universal Champion. Yep. You've got a complex and complicated main event picture.
I almost have to wonder if maybe Edge does beat Roman for the Universal title, but then, like, some kind of shakeup happens and the U.S. title ends up on SmackDown. Or maybe it is just the IC title. Roman wins a mid-card title and Jey ends up beating him for that.
That would be interesting.
Has Roman ever held a mid-card title before?
He is. He's a former U.S. champion.
Okay, so IC title is a title that he hasn't held yet, so that would make sense then.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been an Intercontinental champion to my knowledge.
And then again, would be perfect for Jey Uso.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. That's what, on the SmackDown side of things, I am so hyped for Mania, because even the things that we think are settled, I don't know if they're settled.
Oh, Abel and Alex are both saying that Roman has held the IC title too.
And you know what I was going to say? I believe that only because Roman's mid-card stuff is so goddamn forgettable, because he doesn't give a shit. But yeah, like, I know I said earlier that WWE doesn't like to overly complicate the WrestleMania main events. So I do want to say, too, that it is also very likely that we just do Edge Roman straight up at Mania. Like, I don't want to lose sight of that possibility. But there are enough moving pieces here that, like, we very easily could do a triple threat or even a fatal 4-way. Because, Foster mentioned Jey Uso, and I don't want to just ridicule that out of hand. I do think that's possible with how Jey Uso has been written in this story. So, I don't know.
I still want to know where the fuck Jimmy is.
Yeah, right? He's going to be so out of place when he finally does come back. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. So, I guess we're both picking Roman ultimately to retain. But Fastlane's tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. I have no other.
Almost entirely to Edge.
Exactly, yeah. We'll see, man. It's really looking that way. I guess
it would almost be considered like a semi-heel turn for him to help Roman win.
Yeah. I'm just really curious about the rationale. At that point,
you would almost need to add Bryan to the match because you need a real babyface in a WrestleMania World Title match.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't just have it be a heel versus a tween.
Dude, maybe, you know what, dude, that I just thought of, holy shit, maybe they could, well, not perfectly, right, because you'd have to get the same people for perfectly, quite literally, but maybe they could perfectly conceptually recreate 30, because what if he beats Jey Uso on night one and Roman's like, or somebody's like, oh, if you beat Jey Uso, you get in, and then he gets in the match on fucking night two.
That would be cool, that would be cool.
So you get Jey Uso in there, but again, it's almost like the gatekeeper, which... I mean, no offense to Jay, I've been loving his work, but just kayfabe-wise, if you're Roman Reigns, are you sure you want to keep trusting him with that? Like, didn't work out in the cage match, didn't work out against Edge.
I mean, that's only 2 times that he's failed, right?
Yeah.
He always comes up clutch for Roman in Roman's title matches, at least.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But, yeah, that's one way you could get Jey Uso involved, because, like, I don't even know if they're doing an armbar this year, because, again, that's another thing I'm wondering, too, about the rest of the Mania card. Since you're actually having a crowd, which I just want to go on record, since I've mentioned that a few times, I completely disagree with it, just to get that out there explicitly.
Dude, I had another thought regarding the main event. What if Bryan wins because of Edge's, like, count, or Edge calls, like, a tap out or something like that, and then Edge spears Bryan after?
That could happen, yeah. I could see that.
That's super WWE-like to me.
But then, let me ask you this, because Roman's just not going to go away, not with how his heel character's been.
I mean, it would still be the triple threat, but it would just be Bryan going in as the champ.
Well, I was going to say, like, just narratively speaking, would you have Roman, maybe even Heyman on behalf of Roman, say that Edge was not vested with the authority of a referee to make that call, therefore the decision should be null and void?
So you know what they would do, though, then? They would have a singles match, Bryan versus Roman, for the undisputed Universal Championship on night 1, and the winner of that faces Edge on night 2.
Yeah.
Fuck, I love that. It probably won't happen, so I'm getting my hopes up for nothing, but that would be cool as shit.
Yeah, I will say this, again, since, something I wanted to say, and then I wanted you to get your thought in about the main event. Because they're having a crowd this Mania, I have no idea what the rest of the undercard is going to look like. I'm guessing because it's 2 nights, they're not going to bother with an armbar necessarily, because again, they have 2 nights for, like, the whole roster to breathe. Yeah. But I am wondering what a Bryan or a Jey Uso does here. Because if WWE does go straight forward with, we're doing Roman Edge at Mania, you already know they're not doing what I was hoping they'd do of KO versus Jey Uso at Mania, because KO is locked up with Sammy. So, do Bryan and Jey just work with each other? What happens there?
That could work.
So, like, I just have a lot of questions. And to be perfectly honest, again, since we're only saying our predictions now and then we're kind of revisiting them when we actually get to Mania, if we do Bryan Jey at Mania, I could actually see Bryan putting Jey Uso over to keep him strong.
Well, hasn't he already? Didn't he already put Jey Uso over a couple times in the fall?
In the fall, yeah, like very early on when when Jey was kind of going through it. But I'm just talking like big singles match at Mania. I could see him giving Jey the W just to keep that momentum hot because, dude, if WWE is seriously... I'm telling you, I just got done saying about Stardom that B and Momo, like that whole storyline, if it ends with Momo beating B for the world title, that's my storyline of the year. The only thing that I can reasonably think to beat that would be Jey beating Roman for the Universal title. Because that's just so insane to me, and if WWE had the balls to do that and write it as well as they did, that could be the only thing to beat us a quality Stardom storyline, and that's tough to do. Stardom's my favorite promotion right now. But if anybody can do it, and I hate to say it, it is WWE, and it is with that exact storyline. So, like Foster, I need answers too. Because, again, there are a lot of moving pieces here. What puzzle are you trying to make? What picture are you trying to make? But I will say this. I think it's happened. I think our discussion, especially about the SmackDown main event scene, I'm at a 10 out of 10 for this show. I don't even care. I don't care if it deflates me and they go with the most bland milquetoast answers possible. Just the possibilities have energized me and excited me to a point where we can't get to Fastlane fast enough. So I'm at a 10 out of 10 hype. I'm fucking ready for it. Let's go.
I'm at a 9. I'm meeting you where you started on this show at. I'm not all the way up there to 10, though.
I think, again, particularly regarding the Universal title, that was one of our most passionate, just varied discussions that we've had in a minute. Yeah. And I need to know, like, where does Jey Uso stand? Where does Daniel Bryan stand? You know, SmackDown's killing it. I'm paying particular attention to the SmackDown half of this card at Fastlane.
Yes.
So
it's a SmackDown heavy card, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not entirely SmackDown, but the most important matches are like the fucking US title is the most important Raw match on this card, and like who gives a shit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you've got Roman Bryan, that's SmackDown, Big E Apollo, that's SmackDown. The whole tag title feud the women's tag title feud has been built on SmackDown. Then you've got Sheamus, Drew, and Bliss Orton are the only other 2 Raw matches, and Nakamura Rollins is also so 4 of the 7 matches are SmackDown matches, and the 2 most important matches are SmackDown matches.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. I got nothing else to say, guys.
Which is a good thing. I'm telling you, man, SmackDown just feels like the new flagship, man.
It really does. Yeah. It really does.
Which is odd because even if you just look at like the poster, like I literally used like the poster for Fastlane on our background, and I just did like some really heavy color editing and made it look really cool in my opinion. But it's Drew, so it's like okay, so they're still considering Drew McIntyre to be like a face of the company, but like if you really look at the structure of the card and the actual card itself, it really does feel like SmackDown is the featured brand, at least on this show.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I mean, they have been killing it. I don't think they've really, at least with the divisions that we're really excited about at present, I don't think they've really made any grave missteps. And, you know, we'll see what happens. But, guys, thank you so much for coming out for this. I think of all the preview predictions we've done, this might be one of my favorites, at least that we've done in a minute. Again, very passionate conversations. And, yeah, be sure to leave a like as you file out. Click the bell icon, subscribe so you keep up with all that Twitter goodness. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time to settle this. Who's going to WrestleMania? Who's going to catering? Let's find it all fucking out right here. So, with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Ashton to take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you all enjoyed our preview and predictions here tonight. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, and, of course, follow us on Twitter and Twitch. If you'd like to support the channel, you can also subscribe on Twitch, buy our merch on Teespring, donate to our Patreon, and share this channel and this video with all your wrestling fan friends and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. We are TwitWow, and we are the workhorses of the YNTW season. We will be live reacting to Fastlane tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Peacock. It's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. And then we've got Among Us Mondays on Monday. And then we've got some Stardom stuff coming up next week. We've got Q&A next Thursday. We've got our NXT review Wednesday. And, of course, our SmackDown review Friday. So we hope you're looking forward to all that fun stuff. And we hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.